Hello guys and welcome back to Planet 40k Tyranids. Now in today's video we're going to be talking about the new article that's been released by Warhammer community in relation to two of the new units for Tyranids for 10th edition. So we're going to get into that. This was released on the 12th of May and today as I'm filming this it's the 13th of May, so it may come out today, it may come out on the 14th, I'm not entirely sure. Depends how quickly I can get this up. Right, so let's get into this article. So these new Tyranid will make ghosts of your enemies. So let's get down first of all to the Barbgaunts. Now the hive mind loves some living artillery, from the spawn mine biovore to the mighty X-Cream. Now we've got another beast to add to the list, the Barbgaunts and their biocannons, which are actually the brains of the outfit. So they're not given the data sheet, but they have given the weapon profile for these Barbgaunts, and it's the biocannon. Now it's got the blast keyword, so for every 5 models in the enemy unit you're going to get a +1 to the attacks, the amount of attacks you actually get. It's also got the heavy keyword, so it's going to be a +1 to hit if it remains stationary. Now already there's a few problems right there, so we'll get into that in a moment. So the range is only 24 inches, which I think is a bit of a problem. It, to me, needs a little bit more. It needs to be sort of 36 inches. It's, when you've got a heavy weapon with a short range, you're going to have to move it. And if you're moving it, you're not getting that +1 to the hit roll with that heavy keyword. So slight problem there. Now, as for the attacks, it's a bit swingy as well. It's only D6 amount of attacks. Again, it could be 1, it could be 6, it could be whatever, right? It's D6. Bit swingy, that one. Ballistic skill starts on a 4+. It can drop to a 3+, of course, if you stay stationary. Strength 5, no AP, 1 damage. So it's very good against light infantry, partly because it's got no AP. The strength is enough to put them on wounded on a 3+, possibly a 4+ against the more elite targets, but really you're looking for the light targets here. And 1 damage is all you kind of need against those really light targets. Now they've actually showcased the ability that comes with this weapon, which is the Disruption Bombardment, and I think this is the only reason you would actually take this unit. So let's get into this ability. So in your shooting phase, after this unit has shot, if an enemy infantry unit was hit by one or more of these attacks made by this unit's biocannons until the end of the opponent's next turn, that enemy unit is disrupted. While a unit is disrupted, subtract 2 from its movement characteristics and subtract 2 from the advance and charge rolls made for it. So this is effectively a debuff, this ability, and it only works on infantry, which kind of sucks a little bit. It's a little bit too precise there. If it worked on everything, that would be pretty cool. Especially things that have got wings, like monsters and stuff, that would be really cool, but it's only infantry, so really you're looking at things like Terminators, things that are trying to get towards you, and you don't want them to get close. Terminators are an obvious example there. So you're minusing 2 from the movement, and you're minusing 2 from the charge move, and the advance move as well. Now for me, this kind of tells me it's not so much about the actual weapon profile, it's more about the ability, and if it is just about the ability, you don't need lots of units of these. I think 1 unit of these is enough if you even want to take them. Having 3 of these I kind of think is a bit pointless. You may as well just look at things that have got a longer range that are at the backfields. If you want to go cheap, you've got the biovore still, whereas these guys, yeah, only 24-inch range, so they're going to have to move forward, or yeah, they're going to have to move basically. It's not about the damage of these, it's all about the disruption of the movement. So I'm not sure where I stand on that one. I don't think they're going to be that useful. Again, it's only infantry as well, so against certain factions that may not be as useful. All depends on what your opponent brings, I guess. So you're kind of having to do a bit of predictive work before you get into your game. So that is the Barbgaunts. They've also showcased the Neurogaunts. They've given the datasheet as well as the ability. Cool. So let's get into the datasheet to begin. Neurogaunts, movement 6 inches, toughness 3, 6+ armor save, wounds 1, leadership 8+, and the objective control is 1. So fairly straightforward gaunt stats there, there's nothing really of note. Apart from the movement is only 6, that's kind of slow compared to the other gaunts, but yeah, it is what it is, it's totally fine. Now they've also showed off their Xenos Claws and Teeth, which is their weaponry. It's melee, attacks 1, weapon skill 4+, strength 3, no AP and 1 damage. In fact, it's virtually just as bad as having no weapon at all, isn't it? They're hitting on a 4+ with their base strength of strength 3, which is what it used to be, and 1 attack, no AP, 1 damage. So they virtually don't do anything, is what I'm trying to say. They don't do anything. So either they're really cheap, or there's got to be something to them. So we're going to kind of get into the ability now, because that's, I'm presuming, where everything is. So, Neurosights. So while this unit is within synapse range of your army, it has the synapse keyword. So, Of course, if you weren't aware what synapse is, if you're within 6 inches of a synaptic or synapse creature with the synapse keyword, like a hive tyrant for example, then when you do your battle shock test, you use 3 dice instead of 2. That of course is going to benefit you for taking leadership tests, for your battle shock tests, so that you're not failing that, and then therefore you're able to still use stratagems on that unit, and you're still able to have your objective control, which is of course very important for getting objectives. So this is just a way of passing synapse on, or making it reach out across the rest of your army. So I can see the advantages of it, I guess, especially in the larger games and where you've got units that are a fair way away from synapse. But Tyranids doesn't really play like that. I mean, you've got monsters. I mean, they can still do the battle shock test if they are forced. There are abilities now that force you to take a battle shock test, so they're not ever going to go below half strength, but you still can be forced to take one. So that could be key. But other than that, I don't think these are that great. I mean, they're not doing nothing in damage, and that's for sure. They're doing absolutely nothing in terms of damage. And they're only being taken for the ability, right? That's the only thing I can see. There's nothing else down here. I'm just going to read this synapse. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they've actually made a good point there. I kind of did allude to this a minute ago, but so your other bioforms such as a Horospex or Termagants can control crucial objectives. Now, if you fail a battle shock test on, say, a Horospex that's holding an objective, I don't know what the objective control is on a Horospex. Let's just presume for the sake of argument it's 4. I don't know what it is. If you are forced to take a battle shock test by an enemy unit's ability, then you fail it. You've now basically lost control of the objective because your objective control goes to 0. So it only takes one model to literally take that objective away from your Horospex. So by having this, it gives you a better chance of actually keeping your objective control because you're using using 3 dice for your leadership roll instead of 2. So are these units going to effectively just be sticking around the big monsters? Maybe. Unless I'm missing something else that I can't really see much of a need for them. I mean, if this was 9th edition, I can kind of understand. You've got this synaptic link range of all the abilities being passed all over the place. I can kind of understand it, but for 10th edition, that isn't a thing. It's just synapse, and that's, it's a real basic synapse, isn't it? So that isn't a thing anymore. So they should have kind of brought this out last edition, really, shouldn't they? Now, there might be something more to this, I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, for me, both the data sheet that we've just seen, as well as the Barbgaunts biocannon and the ability, I'm not that impressed. All I can say is I'm not that impressed. So yeah, you'll have to let me know what you think, guys, and if I've missed anything, put it down below as well, so I can sort of get into that. But yeah, other than that, guys, make sure you are subscribing on your exits. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.